Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. I'm here at St James's Park, well aware that the game that I'm previewing today isn't here on Sunday, it is at the London Stadium. We're going to get into all that, but I came down to the stadium today to go to the club shop to try and get this little number that we've seen all the players wearing. Now I've seen it at the San Siro, you would have seen it on TV, and we've seen it again the other night, and I just think that is a lovely, different quarters. It may not be everyone's fancy, it's a bit bold, it's a bit out there, but I like it. Went to the club shop to try and get it, and of course they didn't have it in stock, did they not? No, can't wait for Adidas to come in melee, because again, Castore with knee stock, it's been out for weeks. The players wore this last month in Italy, and you still kind of buy it the next month when it's a shambles. But I'm just going to get it on the website and hope that it gets delivered before next season, you know what I mean? So anyways, we went to get that, and I've sorted this mic out. Hopefully the audio quality is a lot better now. We had a nightmare with the fan cams, most of them didn't work. The adapter that is in the camera was the issue. Bought a new one of those, seems to be working for now. Let's hope that continues. I tell you what, it's not cheap, this equipment. So give this one a thumbs up, people, if you enjoy. Subscribe if you haven't already. And before we do talk about the West Ham game, it's relevant to be at St James's Park as well, because I thought the main thing I took from Eddie Howe's press conference was this morning was the question about expanding St James's Park so more fans can enjoy nights like Wednesday against Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously 52,000 were the ones that were in there to be able to really soak up the atmosphere and really embrace and enjoy that unbelievable performance and result. Best in my lifetime, best game I've ever been to, sensational. And I know there's a thing about, obviously way more fans would love to get in there. We could sell another 10, 20, 30, 40,000 seats, no doubt about it. Eddie Howe was asked about this in the press conference, saying, would you like to see it, and do you think it'll happen? Do you think St James's Park will be expanded? And he replied with, he would love it. He would love St James's Park to be expanded. He thinks it needs to happen. He thinks we need to be able to get more fans in the ground to allow them to, support the team and like I said before, enjoy it, because we could easily sell way more seats. And Eddie Howe was saying he thinks it'll happen. He knows that it is underway. In the background behind me, the new offices are there now. What used to be the Terrace Bar. I've just seen Silverstone. He's knocking about. You see the Newcastle board of directors and stuff right behind me in those offices there. So they're behind there, and loads of people are behind the scenes trying to make this happen and trying to get the expansion work underway at St James's Park. It's a very, very long process where it's not just as quick as, we'll knock this up, we'll put the crane up, and then a few months later it'll be done. Obviously, all the issues of the East Stand and the glass building and what they're trying to do there, and the Gallagher Stand and the fan zone and council-listed buildings and this, that and everything. So it's going to take time. It's a lot of hard work, but it is underway. It is going to just lean on the wall there. Big up Sir Bobby Robson in the background there as well. The late great Sir Bobby Robson. I'm sure he would have enjoyed that one the other night against Paris Saint-Germain. And I like the touch, to be fair, from Luis Enrique, the PSG gaffer, who hugged his statue when he walked in there. And I had a chat with Luis Enrique as well on that day. You would have seen it on the video if you haven't already. The Mbappe Arise video. Enrique was on that as well, the PSG head coach, and he was a sound bloke, as much as he couldn't really understand my Geordie. Anyways, went off track there. The stadium expansion, it is happening. It is in the works. They are working hard behind the scenes to make it happen. And it's just going to take time. Like I said, with all those little difficulties and loopholes you have to get around and things like that, it is going to take some time. So we can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. Eddie Howe can't wait for it. He really wants to see the stadium expanded here at St James's Park, because it makes sense for him, for the players, the extra support they'll get, the extra volume. Imagine if there was another 20,000 here on Wednesday night, 52,000 on Wednesday. That could have easily been 70, 80 plus. You know what I mean? So imagine if you had that as well. That would be incredible. It would lift the players even more. It'd be scary. It would be 8-1. It would be 8-1 if we could get another 10, 20, 30,000 fans in here. So he would benefit, the players would benefit, and then most importantly as well, the fans would benefit, because there's so many that are missing out here on tickets and on match days and experiences like the other night. So if you can get the extra seats in, it would be amazing for everyone. I have no doubt in my mind the owners are working hard behind the scenes. It makes sense for them, revenue, commercially, everything. It helps, it benefits everyone having more people in this stadium. So no doubt that will happen in the future. Let's hope it's not too long for the future. We can't see an extended St James's Park. Other things Eddie Howe talked about in his press conference, which I liked, was he does love the Eddie Howe Jason Tyndall chant. He's a big fan of that one. He says he was tapping his foot to it on the sideline on Wednesday night when he was asked has he been humming it around his house. He hasn't, but he has been tapping his feet to it, and he is a big fan of it, so that's nice to see. And obviously, arguably the most important part you're waiting for in this video from the press conference is team news. Now then, Eddie Howe also joked and laughed when he was asked to be honest about a question. I think it was the song one, the champ one, and then he was asked, be honest, and he says, I always am. And they said, well, apart from injuries. He had a laugh at that, and he said, fair play, I'll give you that one, because he does. And why would you not keep things close to your chest? Why would you reveal every time who's fit and who's not? So he has said that Joe Linton and Callum Wilson are very close to return. I think they'll both be fit, and I think they both might actually start on Sunday against West Ham. I'm hoping so. We'll get into my predicted lineup in a minute, but Joe Linton and Callum Wilson are edging very closer. He says there's no other long-term ones. Sven Botman is still out, but hopefully he will be back after the international break. Remember, this game is the last game for a couple of weeks because of the international break. And then Anthony Gordon is obviously a huge absentee on Sunday in London because he's suspended, and it's a silly one. It's a shame because he's suspended off petulant yellow cards, an accumulation of yellow cards. The last one was kicking the ball away, and you think, oh man, Anthony didn't do that, but it's all part of the learning process, isn't it? It's his character and them frustrations, and every player boil over. But I think with how harsh the rules are now in the Premier League, you have to be a bit smarter when you think about things and a bit more calm and composed, really, to not lose your head and do daft little things to get daft little bookings. I mean, it is silly bookings, but those are now unfortunately the rules. So Gordon will miss out, which is a shame because he's arguably been our most important and most influential player on that left wing. So there'll be no Gordon, no Botman, still no Willock, and late calls on Wilson and Joe Linton, but it's looking good for them. So it's looking like they could make it back, and I hope so, because Callum Wilson's got a brilliant record against West Ham. Newcastle got a very good record against West Ham. 6 times where you've played there at their new stadium, the London Stadium, the Olympic Stadium, and 4 wins and a draw as well in that time. So we do like going there. We obviously really enjoyed going there last year. 5-1 winners. And Wilson, I'm not sure if he's had his podcast with Antonio this week or if he's ducked out again, but he really does love playing the Hammers, does Callum Wilson, so I really hope he is fit for it. Obviously, he wasn't even on the bench here against PSG on Wednesday night, so let's hope he's ready and raring to go on Sunday. The big question, though, is who's going to replace Anthony Gordon, and now that he's missing, what we're going to do on that left-hand side. Thankfully, Miguel Almiron is firing on the right-hand side again. He absolutely loves October. Big fan of the Halloween films. He always has a nice little hot patch in this month, and he's good against PSG, and he's starting to really pick up again, so we're going to need him on the right to do well. What I would love to see, if possible, would be Isak on the left and Wilson down the middle, and that front three of Almiron, Wilson and Isak, now that Gordon's out. That would be ideal. Obviously, that depends on the fitness of Callum Wilson, and obviously Isak's had his own little niggles, according to Eddie Howe, even though he looked sharp and chasing everyone down the other night. So that's an option. Who's going to replace Anthony Gordon? Hopefully Isak on the left, Wilson down the middle. Another option will be Joe Linton. Bring Joe Linton back to left forward. He played there quite a bit last season, scored some goals from there. Obviously, the midfield was fantastic the other night. I was so pleased for that midfield to do well. Tonali, Bruno and Sean Longstaff. Keep that midfield, and then if you can move Joe Linton on to left forward, left wing again, and he can obviously drop back and help out defensively as well, that can be a huge bonus. That would be fine if we knew them were fit. It's just hard to predict this when you don't know who's going to be actually available to start. Other things, could you switch around Almiron with Jacob Murphy? Could you put Elliot Anderson out there? He did play there a lot in the past, especially on loan. He played there a lot. Will we make more changes? I did the live show last night. Remember, people, every Thursday night live at 7 we do a live show. Tune Talk Live, mainly to get you involved in the chat. And in that, people were saying, start Livermore rest trip. Yeah, bring in Howe, bring in the few changes people wanting to make. I can't remember who the other ones were, but there was 3 or 4 that people wanting to see. And obviously the defence is going to have to be up for it again. You're going to have Lascelles up to his best like he was the other night. I thought he was brilliant. Fabian Shaw again. These are big asks. And to be fair, the international breaks came at a bad time for momentum because we're looking for our 4th win in a row in the Premier League on Sunday against West Ham. But it's came at a good time in terms of injuries because we are struggling a bit, aren't we? Especially with Harvey Barnes being out long term, and it's a lot for these players. And this is again another game week where there's 3 matches in a week again. So it's going to be a well-needed rest for some of these players that aren't on international duty. I'm gutted that Anthony Gordon hasn't made it, and Sean Longstaff taking in the squad, but it's Southgate, he's a moron, so I'm not surprised. Picking his favourites like Phillips and Maguire, who haven't kicked a ball in a year. I'm exaggerating there, but you know what I mean? They barely play for the clubs, yet they're always in England's squads. Crazy, but in a good way. At least it gives time for your Longstaffs and your Gordons to rest and recuperate and be ready to go again for Newcastle in what will be an extremely busy period after the international break, with Man United to win the Carabao Cup, Dortmund coming here, and your Premier League games in between that, the likes of Palace at home and stuff. So It's going to be a busy one, but I'm excited for West Ham. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel because I will be down there at West Ham. So there'll be plenty of content coming your way. We'll have a match day vlog, we'll have match reactions, and we might even get a couple of fan cams in there as well before I head back to Newcastle on the Sunday night. So I'm excited for it, I really am. Who's not excited to watch Newcastle at the moment? You know, my last away game, we beat Sheffield United 8-0. The one before that was in a San Siro, although not a great performance, still a fantastic occasion and atmosphere in a few days out in Italy. And then now we've got West Ham on Sunday, and after PSG the other night, you just want to play every day at the minute, Newcastle, you know, you want to watch them every day, we're that good. So for me against West Ham, and bearing in mind, right, West Ham have just travelled back from Germany themselves. They played Freiburg yesterday in the Europa League, 1-2-1, and they put out their strongest 11. And to be fair, West Ham's 11 is really strong. You know, I'm not thinking this is going to be an easy game at all. West Ham have had a very strong start this season. They've got a very good team. You know, I think they've made some brilliant signings. I think they've really invested that Declan Rice money very, very well, where it looks so far. You know, bringing in your Kudos from Ajax, Alvarez, who we were linked to, would have loved him. Yeah, James Ward-Prowse, set-piece specialist, second best to Trippier, but you know, he can come and really hurt us on the weekend. He's always good with his corners and his free kicks and dead balls and everything. I think he's a quality player, and he has also been very unlucky not to be included in Gareth Southgate's plans. You know, a bit of a shambles that one as well for me. And you know, they've got some good defenders, a guard at the back who scored last night, and they have got dangerous players. You know, Paqueta, who we wanted to sign, Bruno's best mate, Brazilian buddy. I would have loved him. We're still linked with him. Man City are linked with him. I think Paqueta is fantastic. So he's going to be a threat. He scored his first goal for West Ham, didn't he? At St James's Park last season, so that was always written. And yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, man. It really is. But the thing is, we made it play Wednesday, but we were at home at least. West Ham are travelling back from Germany on a Thursday night, so there's no complaints. We can't say someone's fresher or this is unfair or whatever. It's a Sunday 2 o'clock kick-off, not on Sky, not on UK TV at all. I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 Newcastle win. But something's telling us it's going to be a draw, if I'm being brutally honest. I think it may be a draw. I think it may be 2-2. And I think that'll be a good result. Listen, I'd take a 2-2. I'd take a point away from the Premier League, especially against a good side who's in form, West Ham United. So yeah, I'll be happy with a point. Keep unbeaten. That unbeaten run that we're on, keep that going. Put up a good performance, and I'll take that all day long. Let me know in the comments, Peter, what you think of Eddie Howe's comments on St James's Park expansion, your plans, your thoughts, your ideas on it. How would you line up against West Ham? Who's replacing Gordon? Any other changes you'd make? Score predictions as well. Subscribe to my channel TV and enjoy yourself.